All right. Welcome to Write Books That Sell. You registered for Write Your Book. However, in the process of putting together the materials for Write Your Book, I realized that it really was not just enough to help you to write a book, that it would actually be a disservice to simply help you to write a book that didn't have the key components, which was salability, so we could sell it. I hope that you all desire to write a book because there has been some experience in your life where you have had the opportunity to gain some experience in a particular area of expertise that you believe will help others. And as such, you want to share that knowledge with others. If that's the case, you are in the right place. Hey, Tanika, thank you for joining online and all of those in the room. We are recording. I will not be doing, I don't need to share for me. We will not be doing, you can take this chair. We will not be doing a recording, visual recording, with the exception of myself, because this recording will be repurposed. So I'm not going to record any other faces, and all of our guests' video is turned off. Good morning, Sharice. Good evening, Sharice. So thank you for joining. And at this time, we're going to go around the room. I'm going to ask everybody a couple of questions because I'd like to level set where we are in the room. Has anyone in here already written a book? Two, okay. All right, so we have two published authors I'm sorry, your books are also published. Yeah. So we have two published authors in the room, and then everybody else. Have you already started writing your book? Yes, good, okay. Now, we're gonna go through a process in 7 steps to identify how to write your book in the most effective way to A, get it sold, B, be able to get it finished. That's the biggest problem that some people have. They start and they don't finish. And C, to have it in a ready format for online distribution. It looks like I'm getting some messages in the chat. Somewhat, okay. All right, Sharice, good. Sharice has started. Thank you for chiming in online. I appreciate that, and make sure that I don't leave you guys out. So you are able to unmute yourself if I don't see your flash and respond. I welcome you to unmute yourself and just say, hey, Tanika has started her book as well. Great. Now, some of you might get discouraged by the time we get up to step 5 or step 6 for those who have already started. You're like, oh, I started wrong. But you can always repurpose the information no matter what. You are writing, well, I'm going to ask, how are you writing? What types of books are these? Autobiography, how-to? Are you trying to teach someone how to do something that you now know? What are some of the types of books that we have in the room? All of the above. All of the above? Okay. Autobiography, okay.
My book is a how-to.
Okay. Go ahead.
My book is a how-to, but the one I'm working on now is children.
Okay. Okay. So let me just make some distinctions. Let me go ahead and turn on my video so that they can see the board on here. Can y'all see the board? Let me see. Yeah, they'll be able to see the board. So essentially, we've had mentioned in here a how-to book. That's not good. How-to, an autobiography, and children's books.
And encouragement.
Encouragement. Any other kinds of books in the room, in your hearts, in your bellies? Journal inspirational. Okay, hold on 1 second. We got some chats going on. Self-help and encouragement. Okay. Journal and inspiration. Now, it's as important to know what kind of book that you are writing before you begin the actual pen to paper process as it is all of the other steps I'm going to go over, because all of these are different formats and they'll have different outlines and they will require different input and they will have different output. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Right? So a journal can be, and this is actually one of the slides, but a journal can be an eBook. It can be almost blank book, meaning that you only have to put in smaller amounts of information into a journal. So it could be a write-in book. And it could be a regular book, just a book. Inspirational book could follow along the same. Encouragements could follow along the same. Children's books, depending on what age, if you're talking about preschool, elementary type of children's books, that could have tremendous number of fewer pages. And we're actually going to have a whole workshop on writing and illustrating a children's book coming up next month. The whole process and what tools I use and some of the ways to actually physically get the illustrations done, whether you're doing them yourself, if you're going to hire out to do them, and all of those things, and then how to pull them together. But children's books can be anywhere from, in using the method that I teach, from 25 to 40 sentences to write a complete children's book. So that's a totally different outline process than the one that we're going to go through in this workshop for this type of book, for the types of books that we're talking about. We're going to go into more how-to, autobiographical, encouragements, journals will fall into here, and inspiration. I put children's books in a different category because they can be both for children and adults, but they require that second step of illustration, and the formatting is very different. So we're going to pull that one out. Is that all right? Okay. We're going to pull that one out. Any other types? And these are in your handouts that you'll receive. At the end, I didn't hand them out because I'm one of those teachers that want to act like I'm doing magic, and I don't want y'all reading along and knowing my stuff. Is that all right? Okay. That y'all would be flipping and looking and running ahead and answering questions I ain't finished asking. Yeah. So we're not gonna do that. And you online will also receive the ebook version of tonight's training along with the video broadcast. So you all will get the physical and the electronic along with the replay. So let's go ahead and dig in. I'm gonna put the group folks on the side, and I'm gonna try to slide us down through this webinar step by step so that we can get through all of the important factors. Big question of the day: have you already started writing and then ended up quitting, not knowing how to put it together, not understanding how it can turn into a book, like you got a million thoughts, a billion information, this testimony, that encouragement, everything, and there's a million things, and you don't know how it's going to run together? I would like to say that by the end of tonight, you will have a simple process to write your book. It will be so step by step that if you've already written a book, you will already have an outline for 3 more before you leave here. And if you haven't written a book, by the end of this month, you will be finished writing if you're committed to it. And by the end of August, you can be published. So I have worked on children's books with individuals and had them published within 4 weeks. I have worked with people on regular books in, I got nightmares. Then in 3 weeks, we went from first word to published in 3 weeks. Wow. She paid a lot of money for me to do that for her. But she had a very big event, over 500 women that were going to be her target audience in a room scheduled for that date, which was September. And she had met me like a month prior, like a little more than a month prior, and she wanted her books in hand. Mm-hmm. So we practically worked around the clock. So it can be done, and I will never do it again. Even that lot of money she paid was not enough money. So just be prepared to pay a whole lot of money. So what qualifies me to teach this class is that I wrote my own book 3 years ago, best-selling author of Discovering Your Why, A Journey to Wholeness, and that is not what qualifies me. Because to be quite honest, I wrote that book, it went bestseller, but I did not make a lot of money with that book. And I did grow my business, however, because at that time I was a life coach. I was helping people. I needed to establish myself. That's one of the reasons why I wrote the book. I needed to establish myself as a subject matter expert for what I was doing at this time. Coming from corporate, I had to transition from the corporate background and what everybody knew me as to certified, licensed empowerment and life coach. In order to do that, the easiest thing was to walk around and carry my license with me everywhere I went, or to write this book, have it documented, and then put it out there for all to see. And it did. It really did help my business. It grew my life coaching business tremendously. But what I found as I began to coach other women and then train other coaches, because I'm now a certified master trainer, is that one of the things that is on all of their lists, and many of yours, is that they wanted to write their own book. And so then the next step was to help them to write their book. And so I did. To date, I have completed 40 books. In the past 2 years, I have completed and assisted over 36 authors to complete a total of 40 books. And they are all wonderfully done and doing well. However, one of the things that I learned along the way was giving them the book or helping them to get the book was a very small part of the process. They had to understand how that book worked with the business that they were building. They had to understand how that book worked with the audience that they were trying to engage with. They had to work on so much more than the book that it almost became to the point that they had paid me to help them to publish their book, but then they were standing around waiting for me to do something else. And I'm like, oh, you got a book? Ooh. Like, you know, it was like Mama Chick, all you baby chicks, y'all can fly now. Whew, go fly. But they didn't have enough equipment. They didn't have enough information to help them to understand now what to do with their book. And so I wrote a program called Make More Money with Your Book. And that actually, in connection with this now, the two pieces together are a more complete version of what you need once you write your book. So if you really want to write a book that sells the best, then stay with me. We'll get there. To help you understand a little bit more about me, I am the coach's coach. I help heart-centered coaches to earn more money and create multiple streams of income with their knowledge and information. I do this with my programs, my coaching, my consulting, so that they can reach more people with their gifts and earn the money that they deserve. Now, the reason why that is important is because if you're taking the time to put it in the book, I hope you don't just want it to be on a shelf somewhere or inside the portal, because like Amazon is not even a shelf. Like it's a bucket, you know what I mean? And if nobody is caring enough to download your book, or God forbid, they don't even know it's there, then everything that you went through that could be essentially saving their lives, they would never have access to. And so the most important thing for me is to help you not just get the book out of you, but to get it to be published. So, I mean, not to just get it published, but also to get it into the hands of the consumer. After some trial and error, I realized that there's actually a system. And the system is the one that I'm going to go over with you. The system of getting enough momentum, enough interest, enough people wanting your book, that it will create a movement that will allow you to insert your book and let that book take you where you're supposed to go. It's still not really about selling more books. That's why I said that it's about creating multiple streams of income with your book. Because if I sold you my book and that's all I did with you, the most that I can get out of you is $20. And that's not saying that I'm trying to get a lot out of you. I'm trying to say that there may be more that you need in terms of support. But if I don't tell you what that is, you have this book and now you think you have everything you need. You may have put everything you know in that book. You may have put every ounce of blood, sweat, and tears, every experience in there. But if that person doesn't know how to read it, and if they haven't connected with you and your story, then it's really not going to take them where you want them to go. Do you want your readers to have a transformational experience? Is that what we're all shooting for? Yes. Okay, just so that I know I'm talking to the right audience, right? It's not just I'm trying to create a bestseller because I want to be on the New York Times list. I'm not just trying to create a bestseller because I want to make lots and lots of money. While that's great, I want all of that for you. But most of the people, most of the people that I'm connected with also want to make a difference in the lives that they are of the people that they're working with. And Warren Buffett says that if you solve more problems for more people, that is actually the key to success. So we can get you to the place where you can actually solve more problems with your book and you find success in that. Is that good or is that good? That's good. That's good. That's good. So the momentum that you will create with your book, we will talk about in the bonus section, but let's go ahead and start with the 7-step method. I went ahead of myself and I asked you guys why you wanted to write a book, but we really didn't go as deep as I want you to go. So on the top right-hand corner of your page, I want you to write, why do I want to write this book? Tuck it into the back of your mind, sort of in your, the part of your brain that works on stuff when you're not thinking about it. So put it away for a moment, just so that it can begin to work for you. It's really, really important. It's almost the most important part, because not only is getting the book out of you, meaning finding the time in your already busy schedules, sitting down and writing these stories out from places that have been already filled with pain, and then rereading them, rewriting them, dealing with editors, dealing with the finishing formats, dealing with all those things. That stuff will get to the place that if your why not real, if your why not serious, you will move on to the next thing. And you will have wasted this time, yours and mine. So step one is very, very important. It is critical, and it is the problem. Now, who in here knows what problem their book will solve? Yes, Sabrina. Please.
It will solve the problem of young children not having to wait till they're seniors in high school to understand the college prep process, nor will it cause their parents to have to wait that long, because that's a very frustrating time. So, hence the reason why the book is about a little girl that dreams of going to college.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I'm going to encourage you, while that is very clear, I'm going to encourage you to really dig down to what pain points that causes for a little girl who doesn't have enough information about college, who no one told about college. And you have it in you, I know, but I just want you to dig into it, because those pain points and the connections of those pain points to your reader, to your audience, not just your reader, not just the one that will read your book, but the one in passing that will see your book and think about, oh, my grandbaby needs this book, or oh, my daughter needs this book, somebody who will refer it to somebody else. The pain points are what flare things up to the top of people's minds, okay? Does anybody else have a problem that they know their book will solve?
Healing would take place.
Healing from what?
Depression.
What? Okay. What kind of depression? Depression brought on by what?
Pain.
What kind of specific pain?
Domestic violence.
Okay. Did y'all see what I just did? Why did I go deep?
If there's any reasons why people get depressed,
There are.
Targeted to a specific niche.
Absolutely. You want to connect. And you want to narrow your market. A lot of people think that broad is better. Even the word of God says narrow is the way, right? Narrow is the way. And that's because people can recognize you're talking to them when it's narrow. Oh, she understands what I'm talking about. She knows exactly where I'm coming from. And then not only do they want your book, they want to find out where you at next. Where is she going to be? Because she understood my situation. How many of us have not been understood in our lives? Have you already been through some stuff that you wonder, what the hell, am I speaking another language? Right? And then suddenly somebody comes out of nowhere and they are almost reading your thoughts. You want to spend time with that person because it validates you. And that's also a way to create your tribe. That's another word that I'll use, is your tribe. Tribe building is going to help you build momentum to multiple streams of income, okay? So now, is there another particular problem in the room that we know our books will solve? Is there someone else in here? Yes.
So I have a few books now, but I'm just gonna talk about the one that I wanna work on now, which is the Money Journal.
Okay.
And I wanted to bring inspiration,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to, allow moms to be able to set goals.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's clear enough.
It's the solution. What's the problem? Why do they need that?
The problem is they're discouraged.
Okay. There we
They
go.
don't know where to start.
So it's for discouraged moms. Why are they discouraged?
Because they don't have solutions.
To what type of problems?
Being a mom, their children.
So is it managing like the life balance?
Yes,
Okay.
balancing the life as a mom, yes.
I would encourage you to even try to niche down more specifically. There's a lot of work-life balance books out there.
Right.
Mommy work-life balance is getting more niche. Maybe a specific issue that moms are dealing with. Several reasons why we do this, the ones that I've already mentioned, but also when it comes to classifying your book in Amazon and Barnes & Noble and all of those things, the more narrow your niche, the less number of sales you have to make before you can be declared a bestseller. I mean, that and $5 will get you a coffee from Starbucks, but it looks nice on your stuff, right? So the narrower that you can make it, so discourage moms dealing with life balance. Are you talking specifically about single moms? Are you talking about corporate moms, stay-at-home moms, all those different things? Like, don't let me put words in your mouth. If it doesn't fit, don't use it. But what it specifically targets and who specifically would see this and say, oh my God, finally somebody has something to help me. Okay? Well, think about it. You don't have to answer right now.
I hope that my intention is for my book to solve a problem of helplessness and hopelessness when you feel like everything is against you, that my story will remind you that you can.
Yes. And what specifically?
When you're sick.
With what?
With multiple illnesses, is it necessary for me to deal with specific, does that narrow my?
Well, let me help you.
Okay.
I'm a mother with a behavioral problem with my child. Okay, so I found a book, How to Deal with Children with Behavioral Problems. Okay, right beneath that is how to deal with children with behavioral problems that are on the Asperger's spectrum. Right, which one am I taking?
I'm taking
Asperger's, if my child is Asperger's, right? You see what I'm saying? So do the other parents overlook it? Yeah, maybe. But it's almost like, and this is a silly example, but imagine if you were a left-footed pirate and you were looking for shoes. And there was an advertisement for shoes and there were advertisements for left-footed shoes. You would go, all of the left-footed pirates would show up at the left-footed pirates shoe store, whereas everybody else might divide between all of those other locations. So by narrowing your niche, you get everybody in your niche and some ancillary other people. Does that make sense? Right? But you got another deep. You're writing this book with your husband, and you both were sick at the same time. They don't get no niche than that. I mean, like that life-threatening diseases that we handled together and came out on top. Now that's a story. You know, I mean, I don't know if y'all feel it in the room right now. You feel it? Yeah, I mean, we can feel it. That's what I'm talking about. And if you're going to already be specific in your journey in the story, then go ahead and put it on the cover. Figure out how to title it so that it tells people exactly what they need. Because somebody has a brother-in-law and a sister that are both sick together that don't know how to handle how they're going to get through that. And your book can be an encouragement to them. But if they're looking through a long list of all of the encouragement women and encouragement men and encouragement everybody else, it's not going to stand out as much as by you putting it in as a couple.
Okay.
And also because both of you will be speaking, that also puts you together as the subject matter experts on what you went through. Nobody else has to qualify or certify you. You here. That's your certification, right? The people online, does anybody have anything they want to contribute, a problem that you saw? Tanika or Sharice, I welcome your contribution. Anybody else want to tell us a problem that you solved so that we can niche down? Or Arnetta?
Yes.
Okay.
Overcoming and leaving the odds from being a teenage mom.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And even if there is a way to, how many kids do you have? I mean, how many?
I had one at the time.
You had one? Okay. Even being more, even if you could find a way to be more specific with that, because there really is a lot of teen mom stories out here now. But in a particular area, like if your parents had abandoned you or simply told you that they needed you to figure it out, whatever those cases, but really making it so that it's clear as to what that is. Is this helping anybody in here?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Awesome. Anybody else want to share your problem? Yes?
I guess my problem would be not solving, but it would be about breaking cultural and color divide.
That is a problem.
Telling the story from my perspective is never been told like that.
Okay. And that would be from your perspective, is what you're saying, from your personal perspective.
From stories in my life.
Absolutely. How specific are you willing to get? Somebody buzzing.
I'm buzzing.
Okay. Buzzing makes me buzz.
I'm not really sure yet. I just feel like I want to tell my story to the world because growing up, I never fit in anywhere because I kind of grew up in a place where nobody wasn't really like me. So I was pale, I was a redhead, I was, just seeing it from that side and growing up in like a very inner city environment and, just the experiences and situations that I've had, and feeling like, the Lord had to use my life as like a catalyst anyways to break down barriers because I had to do that to survive, so I guess.
I think
I don't really know where I'm going with it.
That's okay. It's a great
Lord
start.
said, come here, and here I am, and it's been all flowing since I came here.
Well, I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad you're here. I was glad to see you walk in the door. And I do think that story is an important one to tell. There are some energies going on right now. My husband and I just watched a story, The Rachel Divide. Yes, the name of the Rachel Dorazell story, and it was called The Rachel Divide is the name of the show, and it's a play on Rachel Divide. And she was the woman who was the head of the NAACP that they claim is white. She identifies with Black, and so her story was very, very controversial. Yours is a whole nother side of that. You're not proclaiming to be anything but you and want to be accepted for you. And I know
Part of
that
that, I think,
know
will
you.
be growing up in an environment where you're criminalized from a young age. So, growing up in that type of environment, does it make you a criminal?
Right.
You be a criminal to survive.
I think everybody in here will read those books, both of them.
Yeah.
So both of them, there's two separate books though. So we can definitely dig down, and everybody will have an opportunity to get a one-on-one coaching session if that's what they think will help them later on. But we will keep moving. And I don't have any feedback from Tanika or Sharice, so I'm going to keep going. And are we good with step one, niching down? Does anybody else want to give us your problem so you can niche it?
She did put something up there showing on.
Oh, okay. Tanika, there we go. Thank you. Okay, both of them did. Sharice says parenting teens with mental health disorders. Absolutely. And if you can specify without causing shame to that teen, if you can specify the specific mental disorder, the more niche, the better. because there are people right now that are dealing with children with mental health, from bipolar, Asperger's, Tourette's, all these different things on the spectrum, and they are looking for tribes. They're looking for people that can understand what they're going through. So absolutely on that, Sharice. And Tanika said that there are lots of women suffering through divorce, toxic relationships, and low self-esteem, and my book will address that problem. Absolutely, I think that's good as well. I would say that toxic relationships lead to divorce and low self-esteem, just so that you don't have a million different things, tie it together so that it's making a single line. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. You can still cover the other things, but let's tie it together so that we're not all over the place. And your book should address the problem from your perspective. Do I know everything about everything? No. Do you know everything about everything? No. And the first moments that you try to act like you know everything about everything, the things that you did know something about, people are less likely to believe you. So stay in your lane. Know what you know. And that's it. So let's go ahead and keep it moving. Any questions with step one? Okay. Now, I'll just reiterate to you, the reason why we want to niche down is because you want people to be able to find you. This sentence is dark for a reason. Imagine that the person who needs you is about to die if they don't find you right now. I need you to understand that you are the medicine to someone's pain, and Amazon is the medicine cabinet. You ever needed some medicine and they done mixed the labels up and it's too small, you can't read it, and you got a headache and you fooling around and carrying on? That's the worst pain in the world. You want to be accessible, you want to be easily identifiable, so that the person who needs you will be able to find you. You may think that you are the only one like me that is dealing with life in your perspective, but there are others. There are others. None of us is unique. All of us has a tribe. And in some cases, our tribe is just waiting for somebody else to say, I'm here, so that they can say me too. So be the first. Be the tribe leader. I guess y'all can tell by now that I'm a little extra and a little deep. And if all you want to do is write a book, I might not be the one for you, because there's literally millions of books in the world, and I am not just trying to contribute to Amazon's library. I really want to see books come into the world that change lives. I have not always known who and what I was intended to be, but I have always seen myself leading people to solution. Now, whether you want to see that as leading someone to Christ, leading them to God, leading them to whatever, I think if you lead someone to an answer, they'll find God. However God looks for them. And I think that that's more important than me trying to force you to want my God the way that I know him or anything else. So that is where I come from with this. So the second part of your mind mapping right now is, after you've identified the problem, then now I need you to identify why you are the solution. And some of you have already done that. Like you did share with us, this is your life experience that you've gone through. Sabrina, I know that you are the little girl in the story who no one told about college, who wished that someone had. I need you to understand that you got to write this book from the vantage point of the solution. You are the solutions. That means time out for bull crap. That means I got to tell you why I know what I know. I have to be honest about my personal life experience so that you can know, so that you can know, hey, Mira, so that you can know why my solution could work for you. The reason why my solution can work for you is because I went through this, and this. The same thing with you. The reason why you can help a parent, and that will also help you to identify more of what your balance was, is by identifying what sharpened that axe for you. Where did you become the expert in that? That will also be part of step 4 and 5, somewhere down the line, because where you became the subject matter expert is in the pain that you found the solution. It's when you overcame that thing. And that's the part that you have to tell in your story, in your encouragement, Renetta. In your encouragement, you give them why they should be encouraged, because you've been through this, that, and the third, and what does not kill you makes you stronger. And it may seem like the end of everything, but I'm here to tell you that it's not, because I'm still standing after having done all that I could, after figuring that the world was going to come crashing down. Tomorrow came, and I was able to prevail. And you have to tell those stories from that place, but don't cheat them out of it. Don't cheat them. Sometimes it's hard. I remember Carmelita telling me as she was writing that there were some parts that she wished she didn't have to remember. But sometimes you gotta go back through it so that you can usher somebody else through it. Because if you don't do it in a real way, they won't feel it, and they won't be able to connect to it, to the place that they will be willing to follow you. If you want them to succeed, you gotta be willing to be transparent. The solution should be innovative, it should be unique, it needs to be interesting, and people need to be willing to hear it. Just for a moment, I have a client that I am dealing with that he has overcome a tremendous amount of things in his life, but he almost has not processed forgiveness. And it's transparent in the way that his book reads. And bitterness is like a block. It doesn't matter how much good you've overcome and how much you've accomplished. If you have unresolved pain, you can't heal somebody else. So you gotta take a moment. So during this process, that's gonna be one of the roadblocks that will come up in your writing of your book is, I'm good. I'm good. I thought I was good. No. I'm not good. I'm not good at all. But processing forgiveness is identifying that you have come through. Sometimes the forgiveness is going to be for somebody else. A lot of times the forgiveness is for everybody in your chair. Sometimes you have to forgive you. Some of us are still blaming us for not figuring it out sooner, for not handling it quicker, for not stopping the person, for not fending it off, for not preventing it, all of those things read through. And I'm telling you specifically, if you're writing a book that is supposed to be helping someone to heal or overcome something like domestic violence, if you have blame in you, you're going to project blame in them. And they're not going to understand why they don't want none of your stuff. They're just going to understand they don't feel right. And it's going to be rejected, and you're going to lose out. Not only are you going to lose out on them, but you're going to lose out on yourself because you're not fully delivered. So take some time to heal yourself. We good? We moving along? We good on time? Okay. Step 3 is the benefit. The benefit. I'm going to go get a refill on my hot water after I set this up, because I'm going to allow my benefit specialist, who I did not prepare, to come up and tell you guys which benefit, how to identify a benefit to write your book towards. Because remember, you have to identify a clear and niche problem. You have to share yourself from the position of the solution. And then you got to let them understand why they want your book, right? I'm a parent with a child with behavioral problems. This woman has this solution. So what? What does that give me? What does that buy me? My amazing husband is going to come up and share that part. Would you go over the 7 reasons why people would, the benefit? Why they?
7 reasons why they will say yes.
Yes, why they will say yes. Yes, that will be the 7 benefits for me. And I'm going to go get some more hot water. And I'm introducing my husband, Brian Keith McNeill.
What it sounds like my wife asked me to do was 2 different things. The first thing, first of all, my name is Brian McNeill. I'm a sales coach, and I specialize in helping people sell. And I use the word sell the way it was originated, help people, okay? The first thing I understood as I was coming up here was the third part of why you do what you do. Why did you write the book that you wrote? You wrote that book so that they can what? So, and I think that's the most important part. It's more important. It's more important why you wrote it is more important than that you wrote it. Why you wrote it is more important than who you are and who it touches. Why you wrote it. My book helps people dealing with domestic violence, recovering from. I have a client now. She, her book is called No More Side Chicken. Okay, and it's a story about infidelity, and she was the one that cheated on her husband, and processing the guilt from that, no longer being a side chick to anybody, and but her understanding of why she's writing that book to help someone else, because before her, I didn't even really understand how many women feel guilty about that crime, but she talks about it, and now she's a client of mine. So the question of you do what you do, but you do all that you do so that they can what? So that they can, and it should sound like an obvious reason. It should sound like an obvious benefit. It shouldn't be one that they have to fish for. So that they can, it should sound like an easy to understand and a big benefit. Now, there are 7 reasons why people will historically and enthusiastically give money for something. These are the 7 reasons why they will attend your workshop. These are the 7 reasons why they will hire you as a coach. These are the 7 reasons why they will buy your book. And if your book, to the degree and to as many of these things as you can answer, is the more successful and more enthusiastically they purchase. Number 1 thing is the word money. Excuse me. Time is first. Time. Money is 2. You can put money in there now. Time. Does your book help someone to either save some time or help them to have a more fulfilling use of time? Sometimes your book is like summer reading. If you can figure out a way to articulate that your book will help them enjoy their time more, have more meaningful time, or escapism time, or save them time from doing something else. If your book helped them to overcome something faster than they would without your book. Especially, I heard people talk about healing in here. Does your book help them to heal? You did. If your book helps them to heal faster than they could on their own, you should articulate that as you offer your book. My book, you'll reach that place faster with my help, or with the help of this book. Money comes in 2 ways. Can you figure out a way to either save them some money or help them to earn more money? Your book. Your book helps them to save money and help them to earn more money. Your book helps them to save money as well and potentially help them to earn more money. With your help, your coaching, and your book, they won't waste money chasing shiny objects, going down rabbit holes that don't work. You've done that legwork for them. They don't have to waste that time or that money going down that road because of your works. And if you can show them how your book does both better, okay? Now, your book does not have to answer all of these things, but to as many of them as it can, the better. I couldn't see. Does he have a green shirt? Okay, you are the same car.
Yes.
The third thing is good feelings. Good feelings. Now, this also has more than one application. Does your book or does your service help people to either feel better about themselves? Does your service help them to feel better about themselves? Or does it help them to imagine other people having a higher opinion of them? Or both. If your service or if your book can help them to either feel better about themselves or help them to imagine others having a higher opinion of them. Does that make any sense? Like the 60-year-old man buying a red convertible because it has good brakes, right?
Like,
No, because he imagines he's going to look cool driving it. And he also imagines when other people see him driving it, they're going to have a higher opinion of him too, right? Can your book do these things? And you got to help people to feel. Zig Ziglar says the key to writing a successful book is to write a book with some content, but a lot of encouragement. A lot of encouragement. Next one is solutions to a problem. My wife mentioned it earlier. Your book needs to be able to articulate that you can solve one or two problems. You don't want to paint yourself as the end all be all and I can solve every problem because of my book. The more problems you solve, and this is going to sound contradictory, but the more problems that you purport to solve, the less credible you become. Wandering generalities don't do as well as meaningful specifics. Okay? You don't want to be wandering generalities. My wife mentioned, narrow is the gate. The road to hell is wide. Okay? Narrow is the gate. And I thought you did an excellent job helping people to niche down, by the way. But think about what problems does your work solve? And I'm having a difficult time saying just your book because I know it ain't about just the book.
we're going to get there. I promise.
Number 5 is good health. Good health. H-E-A-L-T-H, good health. Does your book or your service improve the reader's health in any way? One of the main ways your book can help improve their health is, does your book ease their mind in any way? Does it answer a question? Does it keep them from worrying about something? Does it lower a stress level? Does it make it more tolerable, the pain that they may be in right now? Does it help them to digest the ugliness that they have to drink right now? Does your book do that for them? Good health, particularly lowering stress or removing worry, taking away worry. Does your book take some stuff off their plate? The mother that wants to start a business, but she has a husband and children and school. Okay, that's a real thing. Mary Kay Ash from Mary Kay Cosmetics. She had an old-fashioned husband. She wanted to start a business. Husband said, fine, you can start a business, but you still got to be the wife. You still got to be the mother of these kids. So she had to, that was it. She had to be his wife first, the mother second, and figure out a way to fit in her business. So what she did was she started the 5 a.m. club. The 5 a.m. club. Mm-hmm.
You gotta want it. You gotta be hungry.
Now,
that's what
she called it the 5 a.m. club, but she was the only member of the club when she started it. Because she could get stuff done before he woke up. Because he expected her to have his breakfast ready. And he expected her to be able to get these kids up and out of the house. Huh? Yes, that was in the 50s. But that's my plight. It's the 5 a.m. club. And you might have a different version. Yours might be the 2 a.m. club. Okay? Good health. Number 6 is children. Children. Does your book or service help a client in any way when it comes to their children? Books that have something to do with entrepreneurialism. Your children can watch mom struggle and succeed. You know, watch. I imagine because of Tara's coaching, she can help mothers. Look, let your child see you fail. Let them see you get back up again and again and again. That's a part of your story. And frankly, I think children should see that. Because what we do is we only let our kids see when we win. We hide our losses from the children, and I think that makes them weaker.
Yeah, or it makes them feel as if when they fail, that they're the worst of everything.
Yes. And the last one is pets, P-E-T-S, pets. People bend over backwards more than once for their pets.
I will tell you there's a lot of money amongst pets.
Yes. Now, your stuff may only solve one of these 7. But whatever it is, your understanding of where your book is an enthusiastic reason for people to give money helps you to tell your story. If your book only helped with good feelings, for example, that's the vein you should go through. That's the filter you should talk about your stuff from. But for most of you, you can do more than one. Most of you can do 2, 3, or 4 of them. You don't have to do all 7, but the more the better. Amen? Passing the baton back.
Thanks, baby. Tanika and Sharice, are you able to see the board? If not, I will take a picture of it and make sure that you get it because this is not included. It should have been, but I didn't include it, and I can't guarantee you that I will before the notes go out. So I'm just gonna take a picture.
The bone's about to die, I see it.
I know. Someone take a picture.
Yeah, I got it.
You have it. Can you email it to me or just text it to me, please? And I'll make sure I get it to you, Tanika and Sharon. Thank you, guys. And Sharice, I'm sorry, not Sharon. You got it? Everybody else have it? Can I get rid of it? Okay. It is now 7:21, okay. I'm gonna do a checkpoint here. We really are gonna go for, my goal was a 1-hour workshop, but 6:30 to 7:30 is not gonna get us through the next 3. Is everyone willing to go to 8? I will go to 8 if you're willing to go to 8. Everybody here is willing to go to 8. If you have to drop off, you'll get the replay and all of that, but I wanna cover everything, and I didn't wanna skimp on anything. Have what we learned so far, have anybody found value in what we learned so far? Does anyone have any value that they'd like to share?
Value that we like to add to the value.
You'd like to share about the value? No, not additional value.
Well, listen, I feel like I don't need to start over, but I think I've got some retooling to do, because I definitely need to narrowing, it's getting real clear as to how, and it's just, good stuff.
3.
Yes, great.
That is great. Narrowing it down, clearer is better. You know, when you have, because we all got a lot. And most of us are women of a certain age in this room, and that means that we've lived for a few minutes. And because of that, we've had a few experiences, and sometimes all those experiences, we just want to give them. But if we just throw up on somebody, then they miss on the nuggets. You want to give them the nuggets and have them keep on coming back for more. So great. Anybody else have anything they'd like to add before we move on?
That you found valuable so far.
I thought when you talked about self-forgiveness being important, it's like you were saying bitterness and the energetic block, and that really hit heavy with me because I've been doing the whole self-forgiveness thing in this month here.
I know.
But that was very important for all of us to think about, to continue to do self-forgiveness, because then we can really, like you said,
You can impact people better.
help people.
Yeah, you impact people better from a place of forgiveness versus bitterness. Bitterness is a negative and it deflects. Forgiveness attracts. All right. We touched on this a little bit, step 4, and that is what makes you the expert on this particular thing. So this is going to be your personal stories that address those 7 things on the list. Your what you went through, identifying yourself with your reader, being very transparent, and engaging is really going to help you to fill the meat of your book, if you will. Because once you identify the problem and the solution, the benefit, then you want to put that in a bow by telling a story, right? That's how you tie it all together. I know this because when I live through that, live through this, live through the other thing. So this number 4 is where your actual writing begins. This is where you identify it's not an anecdote because it's a real life story, right? So this is where you identify your real life experience that defines what you want to explain to your reader. Let's say, Mira, I don't know, you came in after we talked about what we were writing about. Do you already know like what type of book you want to write about?
No, there's a couple
Okay.
around, so.
A couple of different things floating around.
Yeah.
Are they in the line of how-to or inspiration or?
Maybe a little bit of both.
And do you think that you will talk anything about health and wellness in your book?
Yeah.
Right? Because that's sort of where your headspace is right now. And so your life experiences Some things happened to guide you to health and wellness as the solution. Here's what a lot of people who are in health and wellness do. They want to give you their solution. This pill will make you feel better. This potion will make you feel better. This yoga will make you feel better. These things will make you feel better. As opposed to saying, this was the problem that I was dealing with. And I tried this, and I tried this, and I tried this. But when I finally started taking this pill, it started helping my body. When I finally started taking this potion, it started helping my body. When I finally started doing this yoga, it started helping my body. That is framing it from your story, as opposed to pushing the solution. People don't see the relevance of your solution until they see it's at least work for you. Like I struggle, and I love my TLC sisters, when my fat sisters come and try to sell me tea. Don't sell me tea. You're still fat, sister. That's good. Call me later. Ain't nothing. Okay? And I love you, mean it. All right. Thank you, Cherie. She said she's going to 8 o'clock. And I'm sorry, I got to do better at looking at you guys. The aha moment for Tanika was that her book is the medicine, and it has to be narrow enough for those who need it to find it. Yes, that's great. Those are great takeaways. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate you. And so my head is tingling. That's me. My spidey senses are tingling. Okay, so at this point, we are at the 7:26 mark. Does anyone need to take a break to grab water, or go to the bathroom and come right back, or whatever? Or you want to just keep going? Because I can keep going. Okay. All right, step 5. So all of these steps are what makes, are the meat of writing books that sell. They are often overlooked because people think that it is simple. They skip right over this part and they go straight to writing their outline and making their stories and writing their book and all of those things. But if you think about it, the food you choose, the places you go, the clothes you wear, everything that you drive, everything is actually based upon those 4 steps that we went through. You choose the car that you drive because you wanted low mileage, you wanted to look sexier, you wanted to have room for your kids. You choose the supermarket that you go to because you're concerned about health and wellness, because of nutrition, because of those things. You choose everything that we do in our lives. We choose our clothes because we care about beauty or we care about comfort, right? You choose, it's one or the other. It's one or the other. But you're making choices. Even people that look like they're not making a choice, they've made a choice. Yeah. They've made a choice. Everybody has made a choice. Now, you want them to choose your book. Yeah. So in order to get them to choose your book, you have to talk the language of people who are making choices. And just bear in mind that everybody in the entire universe is making a choice every single day. So now, the avatar. Everybody know what the word avatar means? It's not really a new word, but we have begun to use it in a new way. So this is your avatar. So now, the avatar is a person. We don't sell books to stores. We don't sell books to online distribution portals. We don't sell books to organizations. We sell books to people. What does your person look like that will be buying your book? And the more clear on what your person looks like that you can get, the more that person will recognize themselves in your book, right? So now, Sabrina, your person might be a mom with some children, right? Because she probably works in a job. And her kids go to a school. And she's More likely than not a single mother or not. More likely a single mother, right? So there's no husband there. So that means she probably has 2 jobs. Where does she hang out?
Church.
Church. Very good. So if you're looking for her, where else does she hang out?
School sometimes.
She's at the school.
She's also online.
She's online. Where at?
Probably on Facebook.
Facebook, because she ain't on Instagram. She might be somewhere else online.
She might be on Twitter.
She might be on LinkedIn. She probably ain't on Twitter. She might be on LinkedIn. If she was on LinkedIn, what's her job? Right? She's corporate, but in what area?
Banking.
Banking administrative.
Yeah.
Now y'all might be saying, dang, you might as well go get her phone number. I can. I can. And if I had her phone number and I had something that she needed, because am I going to try to give her something that she needs or something that she doesn't need? She needs it. She has these kids that she's got to get to higher education. She wants to get to this place. She wants to get them here. But they have that stuff and the pillars and all that. She wants to get them to the big school, right? So she needs some stuff. Who is she likely to be talking to? Yes, babe.
Me.
What is she?
Right?
What is she worried about?
Daycare. You're absolutely right. We're gonna get there. So she's got the school and she's got the after-school program.
And you know, it's interesting that you're doing that, Lisa, because Latanya and I actually spoke this morning and set up a session where I go to her program for parent orientation.
Perfect.
And actually, we just set our meeting up this morning.
So is it easier to find people for your book when you go looking for them? Would you go looking for her at Diamonds Dropping Like It's Hot?
I know.
Probably not. She doesn't have no time for that.
But you know, and another thing about that is, even though that's the parent that I'm looking for, another avenue that I just tapped into this week is actually meeting with the superintendent of schools, because so many of those students are waiting to their senior year, like I.
Well, but that's okay, because school is up here.
But we're going to the elementary school to actually do it on that level.
Absolutely, and that makes perfect sense. It's the same mom that you're
Yeah.
talking to. Now, this was an easy to define model because I've already been working with Sabrina long enough that I know her avatar in my head. But can you see now, I'm gonna erase this. You good with this? You got it? Y'all got it? I'm gonna erase this and we're gonna create an avatar real quick. Oh, did y'all see it? Hold on, I got rid of it. I'm sorry. I'm gonna create an avatar now for something a little bit more obscure.
I have a question. Does that avatar create additional, like that mom, is she a way to, I don't know if you do more avatars, but does she also bring other people with her?
Birds of a feather. Always.
There's plenty of them at the church.
And understand that mom is not hanging out with Dropping Like It's Hot mom. She's hanging out with the mom that has 2 or 3 kids that isn't, they might be carpooling, they might be swapping each other kids. So that's the shortest route to finding your target audience is identifying your avatar. Get a few of them on your side, meaning that they believe in what you're doing and encourage them to bring more. That's the way we develop these tribes. That's the way you sell books en masse. That's the way you create multiple streams of income, because now you get a retreat because there's a collaboration between Sabrina and Latanya, where Latanya's organization is going to keep the kids for summer or for summer camp program, and Sabrina's program is going to address the moms for the summer program. So they're coming back to school, everybody's prepared and equipped for college. So that's the program that's going to benefit too. So by pairing up and creating collaborations and symbiotic relationships where they exist, you expand your reach. Everybody grows and everybody goes further. Does anybody else want me to do their avatar? Yes? You need help with your avatar? So we're gonna start out with our 6-figure, we don't know if they're man or woman. And this book for moms that need balance. Your avatar is actually very similar to Sabrina's. So to be quite honest, your avatar will be very, very similar. She may have smaller children. She may have just gotten an addition to her family, because that's when that balance starts flipping out. When you got this, and this.
That's just there.
Laverne?
Yeah, one of the, yeah, Laverne. Yes.
Yeah, I will do that. But, so now you might have to go deeper in order to really identify, more reach for this. Because who is she going to first for help? The first person she's going to help is another mom, right? And it's usually an older mom, a mom with older kids or whatever. How do I figure that out? So that's where the two of you really gonna serve the same market. Yes.
I was gonna say too, and I don't know if Latanya's already tapped into, sharing their information with the Department of Social Service, because they have funds for students to go to programs in the summertime. But that mom, with her having a smaller child and young children, has to have vouchers for childcare.
Do you accept, childcare resources by choice or? By choice, yeah. Yes.
But there are other funding sources, even through DSS.
Yeah, there is some, grants. I started to write the grant, you know.
And you're not a nonprofit, right?
Well, part of it, really, Latanya, is gonna be determined by where you decide to go next. Because if you're trying to stay productive with your child care development center and then branch off into your coaching and into your coaching others to create development centers, then your avatar is gonna change. That's a different avatar.
Yeah.
So we'll have
this
to.
this one, I guess, will fit.
This is the, yeah. Yes, this is the one right now, the first book that you're writing now. Yes, absolutely. And that's also with your child development center right now, where you are right now.
It's just for moms, yeah.
But I'm saying, in that same realm, it's for moms and that age group.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so you will need a new avatar for the program, the coaching, the training program. That's a different avatar. Yes, you want me to do Laverne?
Yeah, but the kids are already grown along.
Yes.
She's left alone with those thoughts that you articulated.
What does she look like?
Oh my gosh.
How old is she?
My age, 46.
So we're gonna give her some glasses. Right, so she doesn't have any kids. Where does she go? What places does she go? We know she goes to church.
She goes home, watch
Home.
TV.
Watch TV.
Okay, work, the church, home. She's still working?
Yes.
Okay. Where does she work? What types of places?
Manufacturing.
Manufacturing, okay. And would you say that, so she also goes to supermarket, I would say?
Yes.
Is she online?
Yes.
Where at?
Facebook.
What types of groups?
Single.
She's on plenty of fish.
Pile of fish.
Pile of fish. She's on dating sites.
She's on some dating sites. Okay.
Yeah, I guess.
Is she going out at all? Not much.
Not much. Not much.
Okay.
Companionship.
She's looking for some companionship. So maybe girls' night.
Girls night out.
Yeah. Okay. So now, how do you think you would attract this woman? She's gonna be on Facebook because she's not leaving. She don't have time. She's at church, the supermarket, she's going to work, back home again. So most of the way you find her is gonna be online. So I would say identify some groups.
Update your,
You might have to even create a group.
Yeah.
And if you create it, and create a group and church events, that's right. She might be going to some church events, but she might not feel comfortable at all of the church events because they coupled up or they're younger or whatever. And so,
And then it could be judgmental.
a lot of times judgmental. So if you identify a very specific group that targeted life after domestic violence, would you join a group of life after domestic violence?
Not as I completely healed, I still would be.
Would you peep at it?
Just a little bit, step back, evaluate. I've done that.
And a lot of times that's what's gonna happen. But if they see it's a safe place, if they see that you're giving content in that group that talks about healing, that talks about deliverance, that talks about the solution and not badgering them as the victim, do you think that they might decide to tip a little bit more the next time? And if you put in that event, if you then put in that group an upcoming event, even if it was just online, because sometimes it's harder to get out into the room if you're not used to being around people, especially if you have been in a hurt or a violent situation. Sometimes it's almost where you want to be private, like you'd rather be at home in your private space. So with this lady or this group, would she have a good girlfriend? Yes. So there's another little myrtle.
Is she creating these, is she hosting the event?
She could be, or she could just be finding the existing event and calling another girlfriend and say, come on, girl, let's go. Because sometimes it's just about getting out of that comfort zone and getting her out of that space. And then they see you overcoming it for yourself. Just like you came out with Stephanie. You came out timid when you first came in the room, not knowing what you were going to see. And now every time we've had something, you've been ready to be back because it's a safe place. Yes. And you've realized that we love you and that there's a non-judgment zone. And what we would encourage then is that you now get to be Stephanie. The same way she invited you, you invite someone else. And that will become your tribe. You are Stephanie's tribe. Understanding that she is a safe place. She just wants to be helpful. She loves her family and she just wants to be there for you. That's her creating her tribe. You get to take yours and subdivide and identify and focus on what you're working with. But I will also say identify some groups for domestic violence where things are already done, like
There's a lot. I know.
Valerie's group.
Valerie's group.
Yeah.
And I know other people too.
Absolutely. And connect with them. I think Carmelita said creating your own events. Sometimes that's a little intimidating up front, but it's not impossible. Absolutely, it can be anything. But those small starts, or those humble beginnings, if you will, are what creates the momentum that will create the environment of growth for you. Even the humble beginning, and I love Definition T, just put one t-shirt out there and a message of, this is it, I'm going forward. And it has become a full-blown avalanche, and I'm thankful, that you took that step. So I just want to encourage all of you guys to take that step to move forward. I want to keep it moving. Did that help at all?
Yes, it is.
Okay, awesome. Anybody else have any questions about that step? 'Cause I think I want to move on. We got 15 minutes, or how many minutes? 15 minutes, and I want to be respectful of your time.
My clock says 17.
Your clock wrong. We're on step 5. Step 6 is what I touched on a little bit earlier, was to actually decide what type of book you are writing. Why is this important? Sometimes your book is finished already in your head and you just have to get it out.
Yes.
And you're trying to write volumes and volumes and volumes and volumes and volumes, and it might need to be volume 2, and let the people get this bite right here. Yes.
What I found is like Robin, for instance, Stephanie, her book is it's real thin, but it has power in those pages. So it's not that it's a big meaty book with a lot of pages, but the depth of it and it's an easy read. So it's encouraging because you don't have to spend months to read it.
Absolutely.
You can read it in a week and you get so much from it.
Absolutely, absolutely, and absolutely. Right now, the average book is 75 pages to 100, 75 to 100.
That's all.
That is like a physical, tangible book, right? 75 to 100 pages, 6 by 9, 14-point font.
Really? 14?
14 is a common font. I know, but it's the common font. 12 font is fine, is accepted. 10 font is too small. Nobody will read that. But 14 is widely accepted.
And who was that you were talking about this morning on the show with Harry? What, 20?
Yes, sir.
26?
He had a 15-page book, 15-page ebook, 15-page ebook, 15-page ebook with 26-point font. And how much did he sell that book for? $47.
No, you not no $27. No way.
It was about getting book to speak.
So you can tell them because they don't believe me.
Getting book to speak. Getting book to speak.
Did it sell? What does that mean?
That's so. I bought it.
I can't believe it.
Yes, he sold a lot of books. He sold one. Did he do all right?
Was it the ebook or physical book?
Ebook.
$47.
$47.
I can't get over that price.
Well, 'cause
It's
the
the
content.
content.
Really thought it was good.
It's the content
It must be good.
in it, and it was.
So he must have narrowed his, he had
Niche,
done everything.
getting book to speak.
Yeah.
Who buying that book?
Right.
People who want to get book to
And you're gonna
speak.
get a lot paid for that book. So.
That's it. Absolutely. Why did I buy the book? Because I can repurpose this information and share it and get paid multiple times for that.
Did he know that?
What?
Did he know what he was doing?
Yes, of course, he knew what he was doing. He was a genius, but you are now geniuses too. Understand, if you have, the only thing wrong with setting a price is if it doesn't have the value. The first page taught me something I didn't know. That's enough, right? The first page. And then it went on to the second and third page, taught me stuff I already knew. But that still taught me something I didn't know. What did it teach me? To value what the hell I know. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, get that, understand. I give it away and I'm thinking, oh, I gotta put more stuff and more stuff and more stuff. And he said, no, this right here cost me this much to learn. And you're gonna pay this percentage of that much. We undervalued what we have learned because we didn't pay dollars for it. We paid sweat equity for it. Value what you learn. Value it. And that's going to be important when you repurpose your book. Somebody say repurpose my book?
Repurpose my book.
That means a book that you already wrote, chapter 1 is now a separate ebook that you sell separately. Chapter 5 is now a workshop. Chapter 11 is now something else. And so that's multiple streams of income from the same commodity that you have already developed. Understand that you are worth more than you thought. Is this helping somebody? Somebody getting free. Somebody gonna write a $47 ebook. I promise you I'm gonna write a $47 ebook. Promise you. I promise you. It had 15 pages. One of the pages was a cover page. The other page was a copyright page. Say it again.
Where online was he selling it?
On Facebook. On Facebook. He was selling it on Facebook and he didn't even buy no ads. Like he just sold it straight from his page. So it's no loss. He's already known I'm already known as a speaker. Y'all know, I go all around the country. So I take some of his tips, add them to my tips, and put it out there as an ebook that you want to get booked to speak. I'm gonna sell some ebooks because my reputation is already going before me. And that's all he did. He didn't sell this based on his book, he sold it based on his reputation. And the truth of the matter is, because I knew him, I knew that it was going to be valued because he wants to preserve his reputation, right? That's why I was willing to pay $47 because he's not going to sell them because he know I get on the phone and be like, really? Send me my damn money back over this Google search mess. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't. It was truly valuable information. And I'm going to have to let him know that I've been picking on him about his $47 book with 26 font. But anyway, so decide what kind of book you're writing, because an ebook is a lot less content, but it just needs to have value. Imagine, I'm going to do the ebook again. Imagine if you had 10 steps to a more balanced life. And then you changed it. Let's see. Moms, single moms. Single moms, 10 steps to a more balanced life in 24 hours or less. $9.99.
Wow, that's great.
You getting that? You getting that? You think you can do 10 steps real quick? Do you have 10 steps in you? And if you took 10 steps, and the plug is underneath the table right where you're sitting, baby. Sabrina showed you. Imagine if you had 10 steps. Are y'all getting this online? The 10 steps that you write out in 10 simple sentences and sell as your ebook first, and sell that, and sell the talks that go along with it, while you're taking those 10 steps and turning them into 10 chapters. Can you do that? Can you sell it while you write it? So those 10 steps, those 10 things that you thought of, that you just bulletized, and then you made a little ancillary, some bullets, right? Now you package that as your ebook, you get that out there, it can be less than $9.99 if you want to, $7.99. It's not gonna cost you anything, because the reason why you're doing this is so that you can get their email addresses and exposure, very good. And so,
Credibility.
that's right. They see that you know what you're talking about. I don't know how to spell, that's why we got to spell check and editors. So understand that you don't have to wait for Amazon or anybody else. I have a landing page tutorial that's $10 that you can create a landing page that automatically sends out this ebook in 30 minutes or less. If you wanted to buy that tutorial, you could. Do you think that you could sell 2, 3, 4, 5 of these ebooks while you wrote your book? While you were writing it, that this ebook would serve as the framework for your book, right? But you see how specific we have to get so that we're targeting the audience that wants your stuff. So in your, I thought you were raising your hand. In your case, 5 steps to dealing with the stress and uncertainty of, I almost want to call it terminal illness, because that's
Yes, ma'am.
of terminal illness. Of both spouses. Do you think that someone would see that and need that book? If it wasn't for them, it's for somebody else. It's an ebook.
It sure is.
It's an ebook. That's your ebook. You only need 5 steps. You got 5 tips for them? Do you have 5 tips? 857, whatever number. And do you think that you can sell this for $9.99, $8.99? And help somebody, not just sell it, but help somebody, and collect their email so that you can continue to encourage them with your newsletter once a month in the meantime. And keep reminding them that your book is coming, that you're going to share everything you went through. Yeah? Yeah. Everybody getting this? Mm-hmm. Can you repurpose this for your own book, for your own thought? Do you understand how we got to niche this down? Okay. Now that's the ebook. The physical book is simply taking the outline of the ebook and filling it in with what happened. Tip 1, this is how I learned that. Me and my husband were sitting on the couch, neither one of us could get up and go get something, and such and such and so and so. And this is how we had to handle it. And that's the story around it. And you build that up, and then you talk about the scripture that encouraged you, and then you talk about what happened in the meantime, and who all the other people was. Hey, enough said, baby. How you doing? You good?
I love this woman. She's amazing. I love this man.
We love you.
I know what's everyone. Good to see you. I love this shit, man. These like they're like a real power couple. Yeah, this is what would happen if Jay-Z and chicken, fries, all that. Power couple.
We love you. We love y'all. Absolutely.
Vote for Sheriff Inslee. I'm about to interview Sheriff Inslee. Y'all make sure y'all vote for him. We're gonna change some stuff for him. Because I know you got some cousins and nephews locked up. We're gonna get some stuff situated. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
For the ringing endorsement.
I know, one poor baby, now you got beat up. Understand that in deciding what book you decide to write is just the first step. And I really do encourage, now that I know better, I really do encourage the ebook first. The ebook is a low threshold entry point, or even a journal. Stephanie did a journal, a 31, not a 365-day journal, but a 15, 2-week, 21-day, 30-day journal, where you are simply giving some tips on recovering of encouragement. So you only have to come up with 31 points. You don't have to come up with a whole everything. You can have blank pages with lines in it. Understand that this first book is about creating the credibility and the platform where which to build everything else. Okay? All right, we good?
Well, before you do that, you just said a key word. I really hope you guys get giving of it. Even if you don't make money, but putting that book out there, you ever said that credibility? Last Saturday when my wife and I was in New York, I'm certain we made way more money than anybody else. Because we're the only one who's giving stuff away for free. We gave away books, we gave away programs, and we sold everything we had. You know, no one else outsold. But being willing, that's why you see these sales for 99 cents. The book goes for $12.95, but they'll sell it for 99 cents, or they'll sell it for 24 hours for free.
Yeah, you just pay shipping and handling, because I want your email address. I want to build a relationship with my audience. If I just let you buy it from Amazon or Barnes & Noble or whatever, they own your relationship, not me. I don't get to maximize on it. All right? We're going to go to step 7. Ebook is only one format. Again, 6x9 is another format. 100 pages. If you're looking at 10 chapters, 10 pages per chapter. Half a page on the first page of the first chapter is blank. You can add pictures, and it's really not a lot. It's more about the quality of your content than it is about quantity. You don't have to write Shakespeare. We're not getting ready. People don't have that kind of time anymore. So piggybacking again on the ebook is creating your outline using your key points. Your key points, no details. What do you want to communicate with your audience, with your reader, your avatar? Remember what she looks like. And also when you're writing, it's very important to be writing to her. Don't slip off and start talking industry jargon. Don't slip off and start talking over her head. Remember where she is. Remember where you were. Remember where you were. Be very conscientious when you're talking to her. that you're talking to her with love, or him, that you're talking to him with love and respect, because that resonates through your writing. I personally like to use the outline format, which is A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put those sentences in like that. But after I create my outline, I actually use separate documents. I don't write my books in one Word document. I write them, I put my outline in one document, and then I create separate documents for each line item in my outline, so that I can then go and write to that line item in that one document. And then that way I'm not forced to write in any particular order, because sometimes you're not in the mood to write that part or this part or the other part, and just write up to the piece that I can write. And then if I have to close that chapter of my life, honey, I might have to close it because I'm not ready. And I'll close it and I'll go to another area that I've already outlined for myself. But that's the importance of that outline, is so that you don't get lost in what you want to tell, that story that you want to tell. And Mira, you're gonna get a copy of this. It's fine, you're fine, but you're gonna get a copy of it. That outline serves as a guide. You don't have to stay married to it, but you should respect it. Because the first things that you put down on that list were there for a reason. They were obviously the most important points that came to your mind, but they may not all be for the same book. And something may come to you later on as well. So that being said, I am at 8 o'clock and we are at step 7. I already went through this part. So after you identify the line items, you identify the events or the stories that taught you those lessons, and you write those, and then you choose the top 5 and start with the one that jumps out with you the most and write. So you're niching it down even as you write it, so that we can eat this elephant one bite at a time. Yeah. So far, so good? All right. Oh, we're done. I'm going to just finish up by saying it all starts with why. I said that to you at the beginning. It does all start with why. The why that you want to write this book will determine your willingness to stick with it. It will determine your willingness to be authentic with your reader and with yourself. It will also determine how many times you'll come back after you quit. Because there may be some quit. And understand, quit is not over until you draw on your last breath. So I just encourage you to just continue to press forward. If your story needs to be told, if you lived through it to the point that you thought that it was going to destroy you, but you're still here, and you want to make sure that somebody else has that same opportunity, then woe be it unto you if you don't write this story, because somebody is waiting for you. Yeah.
Give Lisa a hand, please. Do you guys here who have not yet written a book have an idea for a book? Yes or no?
Yes.
Then you owe it to the world to produce it. If you have an idea for a book, you owe it to the world. There's a thing called the sin of the desert. The sin of the desert is when you know where the water is, but won't tell anyone else. The sin of the desert is the height of selfishness, because you have gifts and water and you're keeping it to yourselves. So last thing, overall, you guys spent an hour and a half here. What value did you get?
I'll say this, Brian, because I am published. Every time that I hear, and I say this to my sisters that have come out tonight that have not published yet, going through a session with you and Lisa the first time, you hear, but you don't know what you're looking for. Now that I know what I'm looking for, I'm hearing differently. That's why I was making notes on here.
You make good notes. I like them.
Because I knew how valuable certain or even the why, highlighting the why and reminding myself, I made it large, I made it a 28 font because I wanted to keep that fresh in front of me. So I would say to everyone around the table, even though you were here tonight, there are those of us that have been around you guys for a minute. We hear you differently once you hear it more than one time. But for people that are new to hearing it, I would definitely encourage consult opportunities to sit down with you, because tonight was just a scratch the surface, really. And it was a huge help, a lot of content, but even for me having a book, I could hear it from a different perspective. And I know you hear me say that a lot, but when you get something that's so good, you go back to that restaurant again, and again, and again, and you try different aspects of that restaurant. And so, just like, the gentleman was saying, Jay-Z and Beyonce all day long.
On donuts.
Because since last summer, when we first met you, I think you're a different person.
Yeah.
How do you feel? I think it was July. We had our first session at La Madeleine together. But I think you're a different person.
Earlier than that, but I am.
Maybe before that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I am. And there's only one word for it.
Okay.
Free.
How awesome is that? Because then you had an idea for the book, but you hadn't started right yet.
I didn't even really have an idea.
Oh,
I didn't
Lord.
come there to talk about a book. I came there to talk about how to work my insurance.
That's right. But you kept talking about getting kids in college.
And because that was my and then to have that flush out to really see it come to
You
life.
couldn't even hear your insurance business. You just kept talking about getting kids to college.
I know, but I wanted to get your comments as well. You hear both.
Have you guys ever wrote a book about being a power couple?
No.
How did that with each other?
You get asked that all the time. You get asked that question
All the
lot.
time. Every day.
How do you work around your life all the time? I don't look at it that way. I don't track hours and none of that stuff.
You guys heard us about
That's a
ebook
book.
about it.
I don't count hours at all. How many hours a week you work, I don't care. It's none of my business anymore. I think we're past that. We don't track hours. I work around my best friend, is my answer, okay? I work around my best friend. So, and the beautiful thing is, I know she understands because she's in the exact same boat.
Right.
I don't have to come home and explain how rough my day was, because she was there. That is a major bonus. Tara, how you doing?
I'm good.
How do you feel?
I'm still in the process of just deciding which direction I want to go. Because since I've met Lisa and myself, it's been eye-opening for myself. And some of the things that I've went through was truly to get me to the point where I am.
Yeah.
And I'm still evolving. So it's amazing that
Your story is amazing.
I do God put my book in my heart. I wasn't thinking about writing a book, but he said, love yourself to greatness.
Yes, I
And
love
part of the things that I've been through that I'm evolving from is the lack of loving myself. So trying to figure out how do I want that to really penetrate, because I want mine to be the bomb.com.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It ain't just gonna be something that,
Yeah, but don't let that paralyze you.
I know I'm writing, but I want the guidelines, so that's why I'm here.
Yes.
So I'm excited that this is actually helping me, but at the same time, I just know it has to be a format. You just can't just put something out haphazardly.
Yeah.
So it's responsible of me to be here, and I'm grateful.
Thank you. And Stephanie's hand went up too.
Oh, I just wanted to say, although my book is now published, it's awesome.
Amazing.
Because a lot of things, especially the outline, that is so critical, because with the 31 days, I had to do like outline. And then some days you don't even feel happy. So you're like, oh, but I felt funky. So I wrote about that. And so that was really good to have that outline. And even some extra days where I didn't have anything, all of a sudden I'm in a situation, I'm like, wow, that's day 14 right there. And so that helps a lot. And I'm now to the next step of how I can push the baby out and get it to the people it needs to serve.
Absolutely. So you actually have to go back to the first 4 steps. Because you created the book sort of without having that teaching in place.
Right.
So go back to your first 4 steps in the handout that you'll get and start focusing on that, just describing and defining your avatar, and then identifying that tribe and beginning to pull it into yourself.
Okay.
I know that you guys that are here and online.
I have to read
Save
Tanika's
yourself
comments. Tanika said,
years.
I'm sorry I had to exit, but this was amazing. So
Yeah.
excited. So I'm glad she had a chance to.
You saved yourself years by being here tonight. I'm certain of it. I'm certain of it.
If I could just piggyback off of what Sabrina said, when you don't, I think we talked about it, about not knowing what it looks like and having this idea that it's too big or that the outline makes so much sense. Narrowing down who you're talking, this is so huge that I feel like the most huge part was the outline and realizing that sometimes what you're writing about or what your outline was for that day, your line item for that day, is too much for you that day. You can go back. So you don't have to abandon it. You can come back to it. And that it is absolutely attainable. And also the wealth of information, I just feel like it's like we were here for an hour and a half and we were just like the tip of the iceberg. So the necessary part is getting to sit down with you to really dig deep. So that you hear face to face, eye to eye, yes you can. It's an incredible added bonus.
Absolutely.
No coincidences that this happened today and that I'm off tomorrow.
Amen.
You're the first person here tonight. Arnetta. You're the first person that came. And we didn't know you, okay? But you came tonight. You're the first person to arrive. After everything that you've seen and heard tonight, was this time spent valuable? And one more question to you. After everything, how much should we have charged for this? In your opinion, how much should we have charged for this session after you've seen everything?
Wow. I mean, I don't even know the price to put on it, but just the valuable information that you poured into us. I just want to say to myself, you both are an answered prayer. I don't even know how I got the email, but for some reason I got your email.
Wow.
And I was like, one night, I was like, who is this? And I've been speaking this and praying that Lord send the right people where it can help me step by step get this process done, because I've started it, but I stopped, or I don't know the avenues of do this and how to. And I'm just overwhelmed with joy. Because I know that this was ordained. So as far as the price, it's, there you go.
I think this is worth $4.95. $5
For an hour and a half?
Yeah,
Wow.
that's what I think.
Yeah.
We've been to other workshops, not nearly as good, but twice the money. Okay, that's what I think.
Jacqueline Scott says, thank you, great stuff. Thank you, Jacqueline.
Give it back to Master Lady. Is anyone else want to express value? I really love what you
Drop in
said.
the bucket, because you didn't just tell us how to write the book. We're talking about how to write it and sell it. So we're talking avenues. We get ready to make $4.95 on top of $4.95.
Yeah. It's a drop in the bucket. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's nice of you to say.
Well, we gained some stuff too tonight. We got a chance to record something, and hopefully we can chop it up and have a product developed out of this here. We got great feedback. Give us a chance to give Lisa another audience to express this workshop. This is what you should do as champions, by the way. If you know something's coming up in the future where you're going to get paid for, you all should feel that way. You got to practice it. Champions practice before the game. Amateurs practice on their best prospects. When Chris Rock's going to do an HBO special, he'll go to a bunch of date little clubs to practice his stuff. Sharpen your axe. Okay? Sharpen it. You know, it was so, we went to the Entrepreneur Summit. It's an amazing time for me. But they had other people there doing what Lisa did tonight. Not as good. I'm
It
telling
was
you.
good.
There was a workshop overall. It was great. It was fantastic. But what you did tonight was better.
Thank you.
Okay? So,
Thank you. In your package, you'll also receive this bonus, the 10 ways to make your money. We will be having different webinars on each thing to show you how to really break down what your book is into all 10 of these things to teach you. Actually, it's 11. I threw in the advertisement. Some of you know that I talk about advertising with your book and getting advertisers for your book, particularly if your book is one that is in a demographic that addresses audiences that people in financial services, real estate, all different kind of niches want. They will be willing to pay for presence in the back of your book. So, you know, if there's a herb or something that helps with easing a terminal illness, the pain associated with it, somebody who sells that herb might want to purchase an ad space in the back of your book. So stuff like that. And we'll talk about that in future webinars. I do want you guys to know that there is a retreat coming up for those who have not participating in it on June 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. I will be hosting the Permission to be Amazing Granted Retreat, which is an opportunity to get together, break down barriers that are keeping you from going into the greatness, the realm of greatness that you are intended to be in. That particular retreat is 3 days. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We will be on the lake. We will have all of our meals provided. There will be a full day of activities geared towards tearing down strongholds, making things clear, clarity session. We will have a yoga exercise by the water at sunrise. We will have lots and lots of different activities geared towards writing your book, building your business, building your tribe, all of those things, because I believe that your gifts are intended to make room for you. I believe that everything that you went through in your life was purposed to bring about a change in someone else's life. And if you would like to participate in that retreat, it is only $2.99, and that includes your room and food and activities for all 3 days, June 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And you can register at bit.ly/2BA 2018. If you have already registered on Eventbrite for today's class, you will automatically receive invitation to the next class, and you will also receive the replay of this class. And I'm going to hand out physical materials, but I will also email you the eBook that will be going on sale tomorrow. No, ma'am, there is not a deadline for registering. The early bird is over. I need at least 1 day in advance. The early bird is over. The early bird was $199. So if you can hand this out your side. Not in this particular location until next year. But I will have other events and activities that you can participate in. For those who are not familiar with Women's Empowerment Networks, we do meet on the 1st and 3rd Tuesday of every month. Not this week, but next week we'll be in that space. It's at 6:30 p.m. We encourage you to come. It's free for first-time guests, and your membership includes education such as this on the entrepreneurship, authors and readers, authors and speakers. So that membership is $25 a month. If you choose to participate in that, we welcome you to come and try it out. Anyone come and visit the ladies and have a good time. I think everybody in here has been there, except you missed it.
I'm walking final exam. So
That's right. We're waiting on you. We're waiting on you. And we hope that you guys come. And then on Friday afternoons, if you are an entrepreneur, author, or speaker, or someone that aspires to be, we invite you to come out to the Empowerment Circle That's also here at 12 noon every Friday. Yes, and so, that's right, Fridays at 12. And last but not least is Toastmasters. Everybody familiar with Toastmasters? So Toastmasters International, we are a,
Public speaking with personal growth, she didn't know what it is.
I was gonna say,
Okay.
but we are a themed club for authors, speakers, and entrepreneurs. It is a public speaking, personal development, and confident communication skills development program that we have implemented since February of 2017. And we meet here on Tuesdays at 12 noon. And so you're welcome to come out and participate in that. So Tuesdays at 12, Fridays at 12, those are both weekly events. And then first and third Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. is women empowerment.
And men empowerment.
And male empowerment. If you have sons,
or husbands or boyfriends.
12 and up, we welcome you to bring them.
More than 60-something people registered to be here tonight, and 11 people showed.
Wow.
Plus four online.
And plus, how many on?
4.
Okay, so 60-something people showed, 60-something people registered, 15 participated. You guys should give yourselves a hand.
So I would be remiss if I didn't offer you an opportunity to meet with me one-on-one. I do manifestation sessions where we can get clarity on what it is that you're trying to develop in your book, in your business, or with your life. I do charge for those sessions, but I would be willing to give away one tonight for free. Is there anyone that knows that they would love to have a session with me?
You do. Only one person wanted.
Awesome. There's 3. You only see one hand?
Okay, 2, 3. That's it.
That's all.
Okay.
That's right. You have an appointment already. You have to issue an appointment. All right. I want the 3 of you to come on up to the front of the room real quick, and we're gonna let you go real fast. Honey, do you mind doing this for me? It's like, come on down. Oh, I love that little outfit. I want it.
All right, Lisa has offered a free session with her.
Okay.
Her session, she charges $297. Okay, no, $197. Excuse me.
$297.
It's $297. It's a trial coaching session. You can leave it bit before fee, but that trial session is very involved. It'll last an hour and a half to 2 hours. And even if you never talk to her again, it's designed to give you something that's going to take you for the rest of your life. What's your name, sis? Tanya, why should we give it to you for free?
She gave it to me for free because I'm, well, no, I really want to do
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
You really want Arnetta, why should we give it to you for free?
Because I was the first one that showed up, I was on time, and I was willing and ready to learn.
Okay, Sister Mira, why should we give it to you for free?
Well, I was hesitant too, because I wanted her to get to. And I was like, shit, I wanted to compete with them, divinely ordained, to be. I was like, well, you know what I wanted. You know I wanted.
Now look, listen. Now we're going to give it to Arnetta because the other 2 people wanted Arnetta to have it. But if they didn't say that, I would have gave it to Tanya, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I was going to give it to whomever said the most about helping someone other than themselves.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Now Arnetta said, because I was here first and I want to help you, but I want, which is fine. But she said, I really want you to have it. Now, if it hadn't been 2 people against 1, I would have gave it to Tanya. No, I'll give it to you because Tanya, if I give it to her now, we'd be blocking her blessing, mine, Lisa's, whomever else.
Yes.
Because she wanted you to have it. So now we must. Okay? You must, and now you kind of have a responsibility. Because she wanted you to have it, Mira wanted you to have it too. So, and I know you're going to take it serious. Lisa's going to take it serious.
Absolutely.
I'm going to tell you that.
No, I do normally try, and I actually will. We just have to schedule it for whenever you're ready. And we will take advantage of it. Full-blown session. I don't cut any corners, 60 to 90 minutes, however long it takes to get the heart of your purpose. But that just came to me. That's Stephanie's name is Stephanie's book. Amen. To get to the heart of your purpose. But if there's anyone else that would like to have that session and they didn't get it, I will discount it from the $297 to $197 if you take advantage of it today.
If you want. You get to keep all your money, or you can invest in yourself. Okay?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So I am thankful to you guys as well as everybody in the room. And if I can be of any support and assistance to any of you along your way, the next step, of course, is I want to see outlines. I want to see you guys making progress to your success. And then as we get closer and closer, we'll talk about the actual publishing process so that you can get from the book into the ether. But I do encourage most of you to do your ebooks. If you're interested in getting that landing page workshop, I will send that. I'll send the link on how to get that out, and we'll take it from there. So register, stay connected, and thank you. God bless you. All right, my divas online, I love you. I'm getting ready to cut you guys off.
Let's get a picture on that wall. You got our minds.